This is Girls Can Tell, hosted by Trent Erickson, here to say what everyone else is too polite to.
Dating in your 50s is a strange place to be. On paper, it sounds simple. You're older, wiser, know what you want, and you're not here to waste time. In reality, it feels like you're walking into a party where everyone's trying to leave with someone 10 years younger than they are. There's this thing that's happening right now that nobody really talks about honestly. Younger guys are shooting up the age ladder, older guys are shooting down the age ladder, and if you're a mid-50s guy who actually wants to date someone around your own age, you're standing on this shrinking island, watching everyone else climb past each other. This episode is about why dating in your 50s feels like the pool's getting smaller, why women your age are suddenly the hottest commodity on the market, and why it leaves guys like us wondering, who, exactly, is left for us? Let's start with the younger guys. Right now there's this whole wave of men in their 20s and 30s chasing women in their 40s and 50s like it's a badge of honor. But underneath it, it's basically, if I can get a woman almost twice my age, I've unlocked some higher level of the game. Any attractive woman in that age range is getting hit on from three sides: men older than her, men her age, and men young enough to be her kid. And honestly, a lot of them are probably saying yes, at least sometimes. Because if you're a 52-year-old woman and a good-looking 28-year-old is DMing you nonstop, that's flattering. If you flip the genders, most men would totally take advantage of that opportunity. Let's not pretend they wouldn't. So the attention is steady and stacked for women in their 40s and 50s. Every time they open an app, they're choosing between older men, peers, and guys half their age with perfect skin and no back pain. Plenty of guys set their dating app filters to include women 10, 15, even 20 years younger. And for older guys, that puts them right in the 50-year-old woman range. It's usually either ego, biology, or, for a lot of guys, it's a culture thing, telling them that women their age are too old. Younger is better. So you end up with this weird pile-up. 28-year-olds going after 48-year-olds, 55-year-old guys going after 35-year-olds, and 70-year-old guys going after 55-year-olds. And the women who are actually in their 50s are often skipped by their peers, but chased by a whole older and younger generation at the same time. That's where people like me come in. I'm 54. I'm not chasing 25-year-olds. That's gross. I want someone around my age, someone who remembers the same decades I do, has lived enough life to have a few imperfections, and understands that 11 p.m. is kind of getting late. But here's how it plays out. The decent women around my age, say late 40s to late 50s, are getting bombarded. They've got men my age, at least the appropriate ones, men older than them, many of which are looking for someone 10 to 15 years younger, men younger than them, who see them as a conquest, the hot older woman they can't believe they landed. Meanwhile, a lot of my peers are chasing much younger women. So, if I'm aiming for 50-something, I'm not just competing with my age group, I'm also competing with guys in their 70s and guys who have half the wrinkles and twice the energy. It's like standing in line for a concert where half the people in front of you cut in from two other entrances you didn't know about. Even if I did start dating women my age, that stream of attention doesn't just shut off because she changed her relationship status. The DMs don't care she's taken. Younger guys keep taking a shot. Eligible men her age and older don't magically disappear either. She'd have to decide she's done checking what else is out there, while she continues getting constant reminders how she has a million other options. There's nothing technically wrong with doing this, but it's also technically not fair to the guy you're dating who doesn't know you're still looking around. But, like it or not, that's just the reality from where I'm standing. So, yeah. If you're a mid-50s guy who genuinely wants someone near your age, the pool is small, and it's being aggressively hunted from multiple directions constantly. All of this definitely changes how people behave. If you're a woman in your 50s and your inbox is always full of older men, younger men, and peers, it's hard to slow down long enough to really see any one guy. I mean, why commit to one person when every time you open an app there's 62 more maybes lined up behind him? On the flip side, if you're a man in your 50s who's not playing the date younger game, it can feel like you're trying to register for a class that's already full. You start having legitimate thoughts of being invisible, not desirable, or that the women you're looking for have 20 other guys constantly queued up before you. And if you let those thoughts go on long enough, it could make you discouraged, guarded, and probably a little more cynical in your messages. You lead with this, I know this probably won't go anywhere energy, even if it's subconscious. So now we've got women who are overloaded with attention and a huge variety of options, men who are worn down and defensive even before the first date. That's not exactly a recipe for relationship success. There's another layer to dating in your 50s, the fact that a lot of us actually like our lives. I like my routines. I like my home. I like my job. I like my time with Holly and friends. I like my couch and my bed and the fact that nobody's putting dishes in the sink or leaving things somewhere I didn't. Most people at this age do. Being single at 24 and being single at 54 are not the same experience. At 24, being alone can feel like failure. Everyone's out, everyone's pairing off, and you're terrified of missing out. At 54, being alone can be peaceful. Not perfect or always what you want, but quiet, predictable, yours. So now, if you want to be in my life, you're competing with a life that already works pretty well most days, instead of emptiness or fear of missing out. Instead of just being better than nothing, you have to be better than my current life. And I don't mean better as in flashier, younger, or more exciting. I mean better as in more comforting than my solitude and more interesting than my own company. Less stressful than just staying home with Holly. That's a much higher bar than I just don't want to be alone. But it's also a more honest one. From the outside, this can come off as pickiness, and people start suggesting maybe your standards are too high. And maybe for some people that's true. But by the time you hit your 50s, you've seen what the wrong relationships can cost. You've seen how long a breakup can set your life back, how hard it is to untangle finances, routines, and social circles. You've seen how exhausting it is to start over again at this age. So, of course, you're more cautious, not impressed by surface stuff, or charmed by inconsistency the way you might have been in your 20s. You're looking for doable, and you know it won't be perfect. Just if we can actually share a life without destroying each other's peace. It's finally being honest about what you can and can't tolerate in your life anymore. Underneath the acceptance and the I like my life talk, there's a fear that creeps in sometimes. It's the math, the simple awareness that there are fewer years ahead than behind. You catch yourself thinking about how many more times you have the energy to start over. And if this doesn't work, do I really want to go back on the apps again? What would growing old alone actually look like for me? It just means you can do basic subtraction, and you know time isn't unlimited. So every bad date, conversation that goes nowhere, every half-assed effort matters more than it did at 30. You're trying to balance not settling out of fear and holding out for a fantasy that doesn't exist. That's basically the midlife dating experience in one sentence. And before I close this out, I've got one listener question this week that ties directly into this topic. This comes to us from Julian in Palm Springs. I'm 56 and keep getting likes from women 15 to 20 years younger who say they like older men. Should I take that seriously, or is that just a phase for them? Julian, I've had some personal experience with this recently. So here's what I think. You can either take it at face value until it proves otherwise, or you can stop it before it even begins. Both are valid. If a much younger woman shows interest in you, use some caution. Don't talk yourself out of it by assuming she's going to wake up one day and realize you're too old. That's likely your insecurity, not necessarily her reality. But also ask yourself honestly, why would she be interested in someone much older? And do those reasons justify you taking that chance? Are you okay with feeling out of place with her friends and family? Having society judge every time you leave the house? Because that's what you're signing up for. And think about it. Do you see a lot of regular people in this kind of relationship? Not famous people, just your normal everyday people in your normal everyday life. My guess is you do not, and there's a reason for this. Think about your first thought when you see an older guy with a much younger woman. You likely wonder what's going on, and the reasons you come up with probably have little to do with love. Now, here's what I'd actually watch for if you decide to move forward. Does it seem like she actually wants to build a future with you, or does it seem like she just wants the novelty of dating an older guy? Do you think about the age gap often? Does it bother you? Because if it does now, it's going to bother you more later. Is she introducing you to her friends? talking about plans more than a month out, treating you like a real partner, she's probably legitimately into you. If she's keeping you at arm's length and doesn't introduce you to her friends or gets weird when you talk about future plans, she might just be experimenting. Either way, don't be the guy who ruins it by constantly asking, "Are you sure you want to date someone my age?" She already swiped right. Let her figure out what works without you planting unnecessary doubt. But go in with your eyes open. The age gap is real, and it affects more than just what music you listen to. The best policy is, as always, listen to what your gut is telling you about the other person. It's rarely wrong. If you've got a question about dating in your 50s, relationships, or anything else at all, just send it to girlscantellpodcast@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at Trent Erickson. One word. You won't believe some of the questions I get, but keep them coming. So if you're listening to this in your 50s and it seems like you're invisible on the apps, and the women and men you actually want are being swarmed from every direction, it's not all in your head. You're using an app that was built for a different generation with different expectations and a completely different relationship with time. The part that keeps me from getting totally cynical is the belief that for every person chasing younger, there's someone like you who's just tired of the games and pretending this is all normal. There are other people standing on the same little island, looking around, wondering if anyone is still interested in something age appropriate, calm, and real. And if you happen to be one of the weirdos who isn't trying to trade in your life for a younger version and actually wants someone your own age, who likes your life but wouldn't mind sharing it, you're swimming against the current. And if nothing else, maybe it helps to know that there are others out here in our Speedos too. I mean, in your head, we're wearing Speedos, right? Oh, never mind. Me either.